assassinate, airport in my eye, Mojana, Nanum Shegu, Nadi to all my eye. Edumen, it was so, say a pay, a piatwaso, Nindian twasso, go to craning, person coming out. Eddie ain't bremo, the mamma, sassy, hold or what to say. Oh, my no, oh, my no, I said, I said, oh, my full private jet. Oh, my no, I said, I said,
yeah, we go. Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, we make a time. Bo, Bonia, hey, Bonnie Dana Fay, hey. Many me feel he catty and many won't pay. Malaba, he can't find the Baja in Cabo. When you look on India, Lava, where me Cabo. I promise on my own, I'm over Tayani and Shona. Ling off a Mina Sana, Libukuna, no Shona.
Yamaena, Jumanchia, Fico May, Cohen Kabila Capito, Zaire Kai, Banda Bombanchi, Mudena Zwalumchi, Ubangijing Allah Wayma, Jumanchia Fico May, Anna Muhammad Wayma, Jumanchia Fico May, Wayma, Jumanchia Fico May.
Abusiano penso memo wachi na memo akwaba de ba Virgin Television so dwumedia ebraso na uguso a wohwe no eye Agoo Ghana said me die we an pa bia Ghana for hwe Ghana for etie platforms no me basa me chiremu no wetimi ate ase Virgin FM online no ye wono miensa ne edika ne ye Zeno Radio ne etos mi no eye IE live radio ana ne etos miensa ne ye modernghana.com. And what you know, so we use multi TV decoder, and no ye Virgin TV. And I feel so no ebia. Now with the open say or download your app, Play Store. Now it's me radio and I get TV. And also very simple. And once I type Virgin TV Ghana, Virgin TV Ghana. Now it's me I enjoy. Say radio and app and I say TV and app so share. Then it's what me I enjoy you. And I feel so Facebook. Oko why Virgin One TV. GH Instagram, YouTube ni nyina ye Virgin One TV GH na Agoo Ghana dwumadie no ni apese wo fa ho bia no watimi enya na aboa ho afenso mama oti ase se ebia na apese obeso dwumadie ase dwumadie na run from Monday to Friday anapa no nso ekopim se no wotwe ebebo na yetimi asori so se ne da wudika edika wo hwe bia exclusive interviews nti ebia we a politician ya to abawi issues boboba and pe bedi nkomo obehu ne ekone ne eba anase bia we engine obi we entrepreneur anase businessman wan kasa bibi koso pese oba anapo potem bibi ekoso efa mpuntu ho na we ohempon nana na pesa Agoo Ghana dwumedi yetime do baso no so no bo wode se obefre number ya medi etudwei anange screen so a wan kasa behu number no watimi afre na ni ombia no betimi a chew mu na bibia timi aye kama e de amount dwumadie no once again Agoo Ghana ye from a Paa Kwesi Dimanche many production team and na pay so yabo akwan mu oboja ye na nsem a ekoso wo my Ghana mu no yetimi ama so wahu bi na wati bi na no pay no ye beti asim but before then no mami twa no ho me ba na fe ato so di nkomo.
Yanara assassinate, airport in my eye, Mojana, Nanum Shegu, Nadi to all my eye. Edumen, it was so, say a pay, a piatwaso, Nindian twasso, go to craning, person coming out. Eddie ain't bremo, the mamma, sassy, hold or what to say. Oh, my no, oh, my no, I said, I said, oh, my full private jet. Oh, my no, I said, I said.
This is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, we make a time. Bo, Boniya hey, Boni Dane fe hey. Many me fende he kati, many won't pay. Maleba he can you fende Bajamin Kabo. When you look on India, la wapwe mi keklobo. I promise on my own, I'm over Taya near Shona. Ling off a mina sana, Libukuna no Shona.
Yawaena Zumunci ya fi komai kowane kabila ka fito za a yi da kai banda bambanci mu daina zalunci Ubangijin Allah wai ma zumunci ya fi komai annan Muhammad wai ma zumunci ya fi komai iyayenmu wai ma zumunci ya fi komai
Ebusia wa mo akwaba se uguso efe Virgin Television se obi enya aware bo won dey so be na mane se Virgin TV yaba na edwumadi ahodo ni nyina na guna kwan mu Virgin kase afi so no Agoo Ghana ye wo mapom dinti eno achi no ye wo dwumadi ahodo bi bredi egu akwan mu a eba sponsorship ne de ehu hia me panti no ofa number na na yetimi aye na sa kwan so na aboa yin afi so no ebia na pakinkan eno www.virginfmonline.com okoha na wetin akokinkan ense won ekoso o man Ghana mu enano pe na komo no be bi etwa feniti me no afa batu ni mu a na ye beka endi samanyuku ni so wo mo calculation na wo ye e wo whiteboard so mo chiremu sampa afia batu ndi naka ekoyie mo pa enye ma kombenya maka emienu ni edi kan eyinkunimdie na total victory pa anaka mampeni dada a otu Frank Amaomu John Dramani Mahama wono anaka ba betina Ghana be nwa we so na eno echi na okomrahye bidwa wa efe bi se majority eno ne ye kamrahye bidwa form do so mu fia manyoku ba komu wo na betimi yi speaker of parliament no me majority leader any position awodo aka no oko parliament efe bi se committee ni obi aye ad hoc nature se eno no ye bedi dwuma bi ani atete se Ghana 50 committee na ad hoc yedi wie no eni ho biem and ye won ye permanent and only the ye committee in charge of education, committee in charge of finance and ye keka ho edi se manyuko nse se ne o mdi nkunim find come the best election ni na ka ne bibia akoi na ka Haruna Idrisu honorable edi o minority leader na ka wetin aba majority leader na bibia akoi eti me de ukọ e ma akohwe wo man kasa start a wo de egu akwan wo che se eno edi adase be face abatu o mdi nkunim ana ye na mu a ye de aba bedu ba bia ya bedu na na no every manyuko ne so na sente mo so the press conference aba ni o address ye omo papa ana se papa John Bodu one year general secretary de ma NPP woso amanyuko no wo ba na obetire se mu pa na ne se na punchline wo mu ponche ye o che se si eto aba no bi nti no ho ase on di unim se ke court ana ni fan beko en we chi no on de also woni se afia bato on nkunimdi en bia manyuko ni di ye no se aban bi ti abenwa so oye incumbent na obenya over 500,000 votes that should tell you say amanyuko ni ye adwuma wakasa be but bebe bia ya me pese me ka sem e de ahye obi eti ye ko ne ko NPP amanyuko no na pa Agoo Ghana so press conference omo ye ya John Bodu general secretary tin address the public and the media no ya ko emra na ye ba na afi command ye diaka ato so e wo Agoo Ghana na pay
for any presidential candidate to attain. In fact, in our fourth Republican Constitution and our democracy, we've never had that before. So it is a huge feat. The difference between the two candidates is 517,231. The percentage points scored by the candidate of MPP is one of the highest since 1996. So the presidential election was not even close, and therefore there was nothing contentious about it. So if you listen to the NDC right from day one, they were not even contending about the results coming out of the presidential election. So it is strange now that their candidate has now woken up from his slumber and is talking about presidential elections. Because there's a clear difference of 517,000. It is not as if the contest was close 4 percentage point difference is no feat achievement ever chalked by any presidential candidate in our country since 1996. In fact, in 2008, the late Professor Mills became president with only 50.2% of valid vote cast. In 2012, John Dramani Mahama was president with 50.7% of the valid vote cast. In fact, no NDC presidential candidate since Jerry John Rawlings has hit the 51% mark in a presidential election. None of them. The 50.2% and the 50.7% that John Mills and John Mahama scored, representing 40,586 and 325,863 votes difference between them and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So the nation is at a loss as to how a vote difference of 517,213 can be deemed contentious. Everybody is surprised, and I believe that you are surprised as well. There's absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo won the 2020 poll emphatically and without doubt. No amount of whining can change that. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, it is important to state that John Dramani Mahama had from the onset declared his intention to reject the result of the election. He has impugned the integrity of the EC since the beginning of the year and signaled his unwillingness to accept the results of the poll. So we all know that he is playing according to a script. And we know that the purpose of his effusions is to court the sympathy of the NDC to put him up again as their presidential candidate in 2024. Well, it is entirely up to him. He said in 2016 that it is elementary politics and an old trick for people who know they are losing an election to seek to impugn the integrity of the EC. That's what he said in 2012. That when people are losing elections, then they start to impugn the integrity of the Electoral Commission. I don't know what he's doing now. It's exactly the same thing that he's doing. But what is strange is the unwillingness of candidate Mahama to go to appropriate forum to make his case. For why, in spite of scoring a poor 47.3% of the votes, he should be handed over the presidency. His logic beggars belief. That is his logic. The presidency is not his exclusive right to own. In 2012, we also felt cheated. Our presidential candidate, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, told his supporters that he didn't want one drop of Ghanaian blood to be shared for him to be present. In fact, the New Patriotic Party at its National Council decided that the party and its presidential candidate should go to court to seek redress. And that there's no need. If you remember, our supporters were massing up at Obra Sports. We were the ones who went and dispersed them. We felt that the appropriate forum for redress is the law court, and we did exactly that. He said he would take his case to court, exactly. And he did exactly that. Even when the court made a pronouncement and he disagreed with the verdict of the court, he accepted it with grace and dignity and bounced back to win the 2016 elections. This was a decision that he made. He didn't even wait for National Executive or National Council to sit down to deliberate on the verdict and the pros and cons. I know a good number of our people were not happy. They thought that he had a chance for even a redress, for a review. He felt that the Ghanaian people need peace. The Ghanaian people need to go about their daily lives without any hindrance. So he accepted, even though he disagreed with the verdict of the court. That is what a Democrat does. The presidency is obtained by running in a presidential election conducted by Electoral Commission of Ghana and garnering 50% plus one of the valid vote cast. Nothing else justifies a claim to the Jubilee House. Unfortunately for John Dramani Mahama, only a court of competent jurisdiction has the authority to hand him the presidency, in spite of his poor showing in the elections. But he knows that cause don't operate according to the whims of a presidential candidate, behaving like a child crying over candies or spilled milk. Court operates according to evidence. We know that John Dramani Mahama has become the butt of many jokes in Ghana today. But this new law that he has sunk sinks his image completely. Whether as a human being or as John Dramani Mahama, his effusions further exposes what is known for his credentials as an incompetent person. Because I can't imagine, as we speak now, he's not able to tell the Ghanaian people the total number of votes he got, that he thinks that the Electoral Commission had cheated him. He's not able to do so. When he was asked just yesterday by VOA, he said, oh, he's doing an audit. Almost 10 days after elections. We, in 12 hours, knew exactly the number of votes that our presidential candidate had garnered. We knew. We had all the pink sheets from the 38,000 plus polling stations. This is how a competent political party behaves. This is how a competent government and its political party behave. I'm surprised that you are incompetent in government, you come to opposition and you are worse. You cannot endanger the security of our country on the altar of your selfish interests. That will not be accepted. You cannot be a president at all costs. John Dramani Mahama is asking other people's children to hit the streets for him to be candidate of his party in 2024, whilst his children are locked away in comfort and luxury in and out of Ghana. That is most irresponsible, to say the least. Regarding the parliamentary elections, the results were collated and declared in all the 274 constituencies at the collation centers of the constituencies across the country, except that of Senate West, which is yet to be declared. And as I said, we are confident that if Senate West is declared, the New Patriotic Party will add that one to our baskets, making it 138. The EC has affirmed that indeed the New Patriotic Party has majority of seats as of now. Yet the NDC continue to insist that they have a parliamentary majority in spite of this glaring fact. I shudder to understand whether the basic 1, 2, 3, 4 that all of us were taught right at nursery, they also went through that process. Because even having churned out misinformation, they didn't have any collation system in place to know. There's no doubt about it. They didn't have any system in place to check whether they won or not. They didn't put any system in place to follow up their pink sheet collection and their collation sheet collection from constituency to region and all that. But as we speak now, they should be clear. It should be clear to them that they don't have the 140 seats they are talking about. And they can't have it. Not in this election. It is important to remind the NDC that they are not entitled to their own set of facts. In an election, pink sheets are the primary documents by which victors and vanquished are decided. The results that the EC has put out has been corroborated by CODIO, endorsed as free and fair by the EU mission, resolved by the media. The media houses started calling the elections. TV3 did it, Joy FM did, GH1 did. Almost all the media houses that were collating the results called the elections before even getting the 275 constituency results. In some cases, when they rigged 265, they realized that even if, as I quote Dr. Ferijan, even if all the rest is added to the second place person, the New Patriotic Party's candidate, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was getting over 50%. The results that the EC put out, as I've already indicated, it cannot be the case that all these international reputable organizations are in cohorts with the EC to steal an election. The election of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as president-elect of the Republic of Ghana reflects the will of the Ghanaian people, reflecting on the work that Akufo-Addo-led government has done in the last 4 years to advance the development of this country. We therefore call on all Ghanaians to condemn without reservation the intransigence of the NDC and urge the NDC to resort to the courts to address their grievances if they have any, if they believe they have any. We call on the security agencies to be resolute and protect the states. We are confident that the majority of Ghanaians believe in and accept the verdict of the election as rendered by the Electoral Commission and supported by all except the NDC. The closeness of the parliamentary votes is Ghanaian way of telling us to collaborate and avoid the adversarial politics that has characterized most of our fourth Republican politics. We accept this challenge. We shall work with the minority for the interests of this country. It is important to again state that we also dispute the result of some of the parliamentary results. But we have not asked our supporters to go on the streets to protest these results. Our lawyers are putting our evidence together to the courts to challenge them. And I can cite one typical, straightforward example of Banda constituency. When we put our pink sheet together, we realize that we are winning by 27 margin. That means that our parliamentary candidate should have been the one to be declared the parliamentary candidate elect. We are not asking our supporters to go on the street. The election has been declared at the constituency. So the best way for us out is to seek redress in the law court. And I think that that's what every decent political party and every decent candidate does in our democracy. All of a sudden, we are hearing about auditing and having, where does this place in our political arrangements? Either the CI 127 or our national constitution, or where does this place? And how independent would that independent body does? Instead of you to do your work by independently following and collating your results, you decided to shirk that responsibility. And you are now asking an independent, where does that fall? Where in our democracy does that fit into the current arrangement? I think it is better for him to come up to terms with what has happened. You've lost the election by a margin of over 500,000. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we want to continue to ask the NDC to put out their numbers for the presidential ballot, if they have any. They dispute what EC has put out. They dispute what Cordeo has put out. They dispute what all the media houses have put out. So what in their estimation is the correct results? The media should demand this from them. What in their estimation is the correct results for both their presidential candidate and that of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo? On our part, the election is over. We have set up our transitional team as demanded by the Constitution. We are moving on with the business of governance. We shall not be distracted. Let the Ghanaian people speak up. The National Peace Council, the National House of Chiefs, and civil society organizations speak up. And tell John Dramani Mahama that this country is bigger than its ego. I want to use this opportunity to commend what Asin Central, for instance, did last weekend. They had a float, they had a Thanksgiving service. I want to see by this weekend, all political, all our constituency party, whether we won or lost, to have such an important celebration in order to ginger our supporters on the ground. But on the 27th of December, we are following what we did last Friday, led by the chief imam, to thank Allah for giving us mercy, for giving us peace, for also ensuring that there's peace and tranquility in this country. The chief imam prayed for us. We are going to have an interdenominational church service to also thank the good Lord for how far he has brought us. Thank you for coming. May God bless our homeland Ghana and make our nation great and strong. Thank you very much. Your friend Mohawia, Yasam no, Yanina, Netofane say, your better must say, Muguso, na and Sempa, and the air cost war, Memono, Muchre, Muma Ghana for Tiasia. Said the Munimno, Busume, I, woman, Edason, na ye presidential and parliamentary elections, no. Na ye no. New Patriotic Party in your majority seats in Parliament. There were 137 seats. NDC for 136. Independent candidates ewo baako. Aka baako pa eno yenya declare eno ye Senate West. Na minim say ye declare so a eno so ye be win aka ho. Ye win eno ka ho a e ma ye 138 seats. It is adwin na NDC for no say yen ebe form parliament mo eno ensi ne ensi otna eno so atonsuom ti so campaign na eno ye parliamentary no presidential no so ye bobo wie no na adodanko Akufo-Addo enya 6,730,413 eno ye 51.302%. The Odiso election no nana ni hwa John Dramani Mama ono nya 6,213,182 eno ye 47.359%. Na chese nana adodanko Akufo-Addo we win election no difference no eson who share difference between the results no and the John Mama there na 517,231. Nukreni from your starting Fourth Republic and Koba and say apart from Nanadu 2016 winning with 1.5 million no presidential candidates aircon the second term a winning one touch with a difference of 500 even 1,000 and above. Obianye bida. Obianye bida. Nukwe woman say, Osha 2008 at a month's winning with 50.2%. Osha 2012 John Mama winning with 50.7%. In fact, yan election my NDC candidate biya en winning en bro 51% da. Now share 2008 and 2012 difference at a most the winning 40,586. Now difference John Mama the winning 2012 even that was disputed 325,863 and no did president we know 500,000 and over and ben hupo no aka say o ben hupo nti yenye bibi de and ben ho kra and ben difference no eson papa enti na enye me nwanwa say se mo be kai a na mo be hwa NDC for no to me nka so mo win presidential no omo nka so mo to me win de how ma dwen say omo to me and share omo party ni ye omo ntumi amfa system bi anto ho a ye bubo results no no mo so be hu omo results no some kaya as early as 7th of December ye press conference New Patriotic Party ye catch them exactly the number of seats ye winning ye catch them say 137 no mo de omo dwen hu omo say omo nya 140 na ye nya 137 na onya 140 embro 275 no embro 275 no nti dey ye nim say the normal canon enya no kra and basically no enra electoral commission assign issue statement against so say New Patriotic Party 137 NDC 136 baako ye independent candidate akasene westa ye be declare and also there ye declare the tibia no ye be fa aka ho ye nim de nti a jomama yesa no opeso san contest 2024 nti wa anya se oh ye wia na ansha NDC for no nya ade a ombesa ama na akobiom so nti e wo se oye bibi kakra e wo se otumi se de ono akan in 2012 no se ulusu election na weni su ye biriwa na wo se ode ko hye se electoral commission nya ade electoral commission ayesi eno abi na oye de ya adwen ne se again say onya 47.3% no e was say nka ye de presidency ne mana as if say e on one property mo be kaya initial argument na omo ye ne say so we need parliamentary majority pe e was say presidency ye de ba sa say we do so e do su fi hifa because no kure wo mo ne say Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo constituencies bebre ha onu winning be the parliamentary candidate no elusu ye. Central region is a typical example. You winning 10 seats, but Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo winning 19 seats. Ufa Bono region, you winning 6, but Nana Addo winning 9 seats. In fact, German South to put there, the difference between Nana Addo and John Mahama is close to 12,000. So yeah, parliamentary, you know, now you lose. It mean tiasia kra mean who at the growing to homogen say we need parliamentary because the simple facts and this is and I say parliamentary you know winning with sometimes 10 votes, 5 votes. If you are 20, if you are less than 100. You bet me we need 10 parliamentary seats. Now Obia winning 1 parliamentary seat pe. Now difference or the winner no 30,000. Now 10 now winning in now Kampoma just about 1,000. It mean who baby or this logic no free. The attorney say Ube winning presidential candidate or Ghana ha electoral commission near election also winning 50% plus 1. They obey you, soon obey soon. Syria obey Syria. Wouldn't go for good street so enquisition. The electoral commission declare now on tiasia the obeya and say obeko court na wako challenge. And no no parliamentary na ye kan wasem no. Banda seat in ye winning. So you declare my NDC candidate no. And ye de court. Just as we did in 2012. Ye new say elections no ye winning ye. The National Council Emma, the presidential candidate party no who say yemfan court. You dey call court for almost 7-8 months. You di assembly we no. Yantiase, yanjantum, they say no. In the interest of this country, you know, ya accept the results, you know. Na ye nyina yenko yenim. Sana any Democrat, not where a difference here over 500,000. Now because say upeso ye presidential candidate inti na ojiji obia. Nukreni no ushe Kodeu, ushe EU mission, ushe civil society organizations, ushe the media houses na omu nyina quality results na. Omu nyina jitu mu say New Patriotic Party ne candidate John Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo and the winning elections no. Ebi mo pono o man calculate wie. Omo do 270 no so the aka nyina ya de ma John Dramani Mahama still obelusu elections na. Inti Ghana ha no sa institutions and international bodies nyina no. Omo ne electoral commission akoya baako e pese omo wie mu ma NPP ana. And NDC for pet normal facts no what bosom ye the new facts na I'm say we young to me no memu ha na obi selfish interest inti person some contest elections ni bi inti no o se nkwara enko street so enko ye dede nka ye ken na nka o manso edim bi da o mai o ma dwudwu o mo ho e wo Ghana ha bi nso outside the country inti Ghana share me ne one ye ma e na ye bebre me nji ni se e o se ye so sa asem no so enu nti no ye frɛ the National Peace Council ye frɛ the National House of Chiefs ye frɛ civil society organization mo ankasa media houses no ma mo tena bench no so mo nka ensi nanim se we lose election no concede election no and then John Dramani Mahama one take immediate lesson from Donald Trump obi a we lose elections ye electoral college in year 270 there are no contest in 300 and over still also won't to ebi handy what contest elections who ya done Ghana Donald Trump minji this President Mahama deserve apart from all other things why you know minji this or say oh yeah no bend Donald Trump and until yadamase
eti abusia na that was the press conference NPP amanyuko no etimi address ya wo mo chom say ampa ekunim din de ba na aba wo ma di kunim e de awie ba man fe chom say yisi etimi upload document video ku ne website and here pin sheet okohwa wo betimi anya bi akenkan and afi so mo amope updates on so far number of parliamentary seats NPP ewini ye number of parliamentary seats NDC etimi wini ewini yisi de aba wo de aba na wo chom say say no 137 eye NPP amanyuko ne dia ana say 136 eye NDC amanyuko ne dia ana 1 eye independent candidates lawyer Esiama on the friend formidable formidable constituency lawyer e won no wotimi di ne nkwe ya ekunidi command but the name no lawyer chimo de obe join majority and the lawyer aka so obe join majority but okono Senate West hone de eguso okota bibia epimu yebehu ni ati ase kama pa se apie kra e fanse ye di MP essence ade eba officially endorsed certified approved dem sampa yenso betunya ka bi but akwere ni sana yatesem rumor ne akoka bia bia ne yakwakonya asem agogana so credible information accurate information ye balanced and the man enti ye twen na bibia ko yenti anu ye emrase bedwamu nia ekoso afi abatu nu emu na esem de course wa na ndisi amanyuko no wo ne o madwen se o mo beti ase se ne abatu no susan so ekoye no enti wo mo ka so mo nti ase so far o mo for mo clear line of action my no mo fa my Ghana for hwe ni mu ebi so mbeko court ebi si wo mo nko ebi so mbeko court ebi si o mo nko esem de na ba na eba na yekohwe enkomo a o ma pani dada a o tu franka e wa fia batu mu na eno ye mefa ne se ne mpensa so e de ma NDC chinyama nyuko no John Dramani Mahama enkomo ni Voice of America VOA ekodi ye na se mo de tu dwa so far on elections enkomo ayedi agogana so yekohwe ba na masan e de ogrom ni akohwe ba bia Ghana batu etuwie no ekwakowi.
In part one of VOA's exclusive interview with Mahama, he tells Peter Cloete that the Electoral Commission must learn from the errors it committed to ensure they are never repeated in future polls.
Well, in the run-up to the election, there were a lot of flaws in the process, and we kept drawing attention to them. And it's like the Electoral Commission was adamant to our call, but on election day, we saw exactly what happened. This is the most incompetent election we've had. I mean, everything about this election does not reach the standard that Ghana's Electoral Commission, has attained for itself. Ghana's Electoral Commission is held in high esteem as one of the best electoral commissions. Unfortunately, this election, she can't even get the results right. The declaration is all over the place.
Mr. President, I saw your press conference where you rejected the result. So with this rejection, what are you going to do to make your case to the people of Ghana? Since you said they voted for you, how are you going to convince them that you won the election?
Well, we know we did, and we are currently doing a forensic audit of all the constituencies. First, to establish what happened there, and then secondly, to reconfirm the figures that we have. Because this case might end up in court, I don't know. I cannot mention anything for now, but we're doing an audit, and based on that, we'll take whatever decision we need to take. But I think that the incompetence the EC has shown, it will be useful for us to do a forensic audit of the EC's own systems and the numbers to come to what the final number for the EC is. Because as of now, I don't know what number they're going to gazette.
But Mr. President, what is your reaction to the African Union poll observer mission that came out saying that the elections were transparent and credible and that most people were not prevented from voting? The ECOWAS poll observer mission led by Madam Johnson Sirleaf said the same thing, that it was peaceful and transparent. So what do you say to these prominent African organizations that monitor the poll, pretty much giving a stamp of approval to the elections?
Normally, when you have an observer mission like that, you need to wait and see their final report, because often they give the report up to the point of counting. And it's true, I mean, the whole day was peaceful. People went about, voting without any problems, and the queues were orderly. And so they'll say all that. And there were a few instances of people caught with pre-printed ballot sheets. I mean, the video evidence is there. Normally, their final report will capture the collation process. And so this report does not capture the collation process. And a lot went wrong with the collation process.
Mr. President, 4 years ago, when you lost the election, you handed over peacefully. I was here in Accra when you held a news conference that you had called then opposition leader Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to concede. People are saying you have proven that you are a true Democrat. They said, why are you not doing the same thing now?
In the interest of the more than 6 million people who voted for me, I must uphold our democracy and hold our Electoral Commission to higher standards and hold this government to a higher standard in terms of our democracy. I mean, the way they've conducted this election, the government, President Akufo-Addo, and the Electoral Commission, is a dent to our democratic credentials as a government. And so, in my principles as a Democrat, I can't be seen to be sweeping it under the carpet and just letting it go. I think that we must bring closure to this by seeing exactly, where the issues are. And I mean, if an independent audit is done by the EC, we bring somebody in to crunch the numbers, do an independent audit. If I lost, why not? I mean, I'll be the first to concede and, walk away. But as long as that is not done, and I know that there was a deliberate attempt to subvert the will of the people in favor of the incumbent, it will be wrong for me in terms of our democratic practices to just leave it, because we will not learn the lessons of this election. I think that we must learn the lessons of this election so that we don't repeat it in a future one.
TV, John Dramani Ohama, Voice of America, so Anna also Edini Sem, Elkotuja. I am a manager one say with me at 70 say na. One can say with me at Wasum, Nabwa. But I press a make catch one. Ebiana man canon, as it is, Agoo Ghana so. Virgin TV platforms no, Virgin One TV GH, after Virgin FM Online, modernghana.com, Zeno Radio, IE Live Radio, Nina, Yoho, and I'll download the app, this will Play Store. I know they are simple, but they can. And one say OBT Radio, and I say OBT TV, Bibia, the Naquemu. Yawa Buemantemu, a JD Unkomubia, sponsorship, any inquiry, via Oba, you bet me at your sonate me abon como. Number, I'll bet me after marketing department or so 0246 44 0033, and the number Eddie Juma marketing department as say ye. I'll pay at Russell Naya Boncomo Ghana Bato, baby Akaku Mudia. ndc amanyuku no eguso pem ko wom se enko sisombe nsampa asumdua ye adwuma ne de na ebia pepepe yen so atodi wom se no justice no peace, no justice no peace. Esan se pepepe ye adwuma na asumdua so aba sana ndc amanyuku ne ka eti ombo ho ano na se eno adai ana omguso omo ye demonstration be fa ne se omo ye work ne adia chegana for sampa abato komisani oye no omani anheda anye ho eti eno adai wo mtimi na ante mo ante so akopie mu abato komisana so ye na omo kasapa omo kasanya sem ke 20 ye no so yakohwe bi na ye kasanie na ndc amanyuku no emuma abochinku pa ebunka faso na omo di wona police force won twen ne ebe wo mo wo mo so sha ase na ne omo punso ni ade a edgo omo yakohwe no so na ye ba afi yakohwe ba bia sem no akwakosi
I'm with GH1 TV.
She's an illiterate. She wasn't trained. She's not supposed to be the CEO of the company. No peace, no mama, 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 no peace.
abusia afei yakwa kohwe ndc amanyuku no kojai pa kokko ana mode abomuti a wo mo kyerese enyima bi anhyela nkoyie amomo etima mentwa me ho na me ba afei yankohwe ndc amanyuku no press conference wo mode ababonten emusem eno no tie wi a meka ho asem bia na yehia bere foforo so a na yetimi ahwe na ye bibi nsem no yama comprehensive analysis se ne ye no agogana so ma mentwa me ho me ba na afei yakwa kowie.
Praise God. Na David ka say, me crash shirade. Na me wade nyina enhira ne din kronkron no. The Church of Pentecost Adesu District. Or sorry any aye dwumadie no edru subium. The third edition. Extreme Praise 2020. Wotayada Jumedie so ne adom ni mobrohu Grace and Mercy. Hebrews chapter 4 verse 16. Jumedie eba Sofiada on the 18th of December 2020. Enyumre no 4 p.m. sharp. Our Central Assembly asori dem ho. Adwomtofo ekuku dama eba ne Elder Patrick Amwako, Elder Emmanuelata. Efiefo so Righteous Tent Choir ebe hu yanjom. Eni adwomtofo bebre. Ni Jumedie esire na so ne Pastor Eliaza Yao Akulabi Adesu District Pastor. Media partners Virgin TV, Inkunim FM, and True FM. Address ubeye de. Also enya ye be kosoro. Onyankopon no nyambe sane. Onua bra. Na tumni mobro hu be busu amayen. Me die me true hodada.
Eti na press conference ndc amanyuku to join I believe so timu nsemo. Ye beje bre na ebrefofro no. Ya share that church nsemo no watimi ati ase. But for now the nsemo a mo so e de atodwa. Eno no nsentwefo akwa febi. Na Ghana for ye nyina ye so yati bi na nam Agoo Ghana so wo a wonti bi no won so anope watimi ati bi dwumadie no ha ana brema kwan ye timi ede ni nyina ede esi ena no pay our Virgin Television Virgin FM online eso ma me fasi de PSC ma de kape ana afin so ma bena do bia DJ Wiseman ene team no kwa ata wo me nyina mutimi bo am pa na mitimi di dwumadi e ba wa kwan mu wo frɛ number na de screen so na ye bedi nkomo afa production ho na se wo pese ye ba wo ho eni bedi nkomo one on one ana se wan kasa so beba ye studio sani abonkomo a eno so Ghana for eni beje ho pa enti bo modern se number no WhatsApp SMS ana se call wo betimi aye na bibia atimi akoyie nyame ya dum a weekend ye atimi no weddings ahodo eni ade e wo ho eyi e wo ho ana fe so Pentecost so Extreme Praise enso bebo akwan mu na che se wutimi adwan any of them a ebeche sampa wo so wotima e de manipa na wo Nyankopon so ebre ye from Paa Kwesi Agoo Ghana e ho chia me nyame ya dum a ye besen hia
boarding in my eye. Mojana na na num shegu near the two ho my eye. Edu mene was so say a pay a piatwaso. Nindian twasum kutu craning ya. Person men coming out. Eddie ain't bremu the mama ya sassy hold or to say. Oh my no, oh my no. Yes, and I said, I'm a full private jet. Oh my no, yes, and I
Yeah, we go. Okay, this is my motherland, Lady Ghana tiny. Anything I go talk, we make a tiny. Bo, wapu boniya hey, boni dane fe hey. Many me fende he kati, many won't pay. Male bahi kenyi fende baja minkabo. When you look on India la wapwe mi keklobo. I promise on my own I'm both tire near me shona. Ling off a mina sana, libo na no shona.
Yamwaena Jumanchi Afiko Mai Kowan Kabila Capito Zahida Kai Banda Bumbanchi Mudena Zwalumchi Ubangijing Allah Waima Jumanchi Afiko Mai Anna Muhammad Waima Jumanchi Afiko Mai Waima, someone she a fico.